So this week, Capricorn, from Lay Vampire, you pulled Witness, to know personal evidence and to speak out. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Workaholic. Now, Witness from Lay Vampire, the blessing here says that the veils of illusion and deceit have lifted. While this can be painful, it is also a great blessing to know the truth. Do not doubt your experience. Working with this card is talking about never lying to yourself again. Accept the evidence of your experience and honor it within your heart and within your words. When wisdom demands you speak freely. And I think for some of you, you are witnessing the fact that you are a workaholic. The very first quote for this card says, "While I worked, my life happened." The inspiration says, are you waiting to complete your career before you live your life? Busy work may be helping you hide from the real issues. The personal question says, am I working too much and suffering from burnout? Is there something important that I'm avoiding doing? The key ideas are feelings of inadequacy, transformation indicated, not being fulfilled by work, heeding warnings, and refreshing your mind to improve your work. But I think some of you are becoming a witness to the fact that you're working a little bit too much. And there's a need here for you to actually experience life. You know, the other thing too is if you've dealt with difficult situations, Witness is saying that, you know, it's time to really start to deal with that, right? Don't avoid it. Become a witness to your experience, and certainly don't avoid it by working too much either. There's nothing wrong with being wrapped up in what you love doing. All right, Cap, here we go. Here's the energy coming through, the Six of Swords. So moving away from conflict and going into calmer waters. The Six of Swords for me always carries a little bit of sadness, because when you look at that coming out of the Five, you know, there's that kind of feeling here where it wasn't something that you expected you were going to have to do. But for a lot of you, it's just this feeling of, you know, I'm done with conflict. I'm not dealing with this anymore. But you are definitely moving into a situation that's going to be a little bit more calmer for you rather than dealing with conflict. But, you know, I worry with Workaholic. Oh, the past coming through, the Two of Cups. So it may have to do with a relationship. This is the past coming through, is saying that, you know, there's still a focus on, you know, this could be work relationships, definitely. It could be romantic relationships or family. Whatever the situation is with the Two of Cups here, for me, it's moving away from conflict within a relationship. Present conditions, the Ace of Swords, and there's truth and clarity, which is good because, you know, when you look at the Five going into the Six, you're talking about bullshit and no truth. You're moving away from that, and then in the present moment, you have that clarity, which is good to see. But then the other thing, too, with the Ace of Swords and Witness, right? Speaking your truth, you know? But I think for a lot of you, it's having the truth known, and it may have to do with a relationship. Some of you are getting clarity within a relationship right now. Maybe some understanding as to, you know, where a relationship stands. But the Ace of Swords is good to see. Future conditions, Temperance, beautiful. It's beautiful. So Temperance is saying, first of all, patience. Patience, moderation, and then there's balance. There's balance between the way that you're feeling and the way that you're thinking. But I think for a lot of you, there needs to be patience when it comes to the truths that are being made known to you in regards to a relationship. And I really do think that the Six of Swords is saying that you're done dealing with any kind of conflict within any kind of a relationship that has value and importance to you. You want truth. You want truth in a relationship. And for those of you who are waiting on that, you know, Temperance is saying to be patient. But then there's also, you know, that guidance that's surrounding you. I'm not feeling anything like horrible. I don't think like there's any horrible truths. I just think that for a lot of you, there needs to be clarity when it comes to, you know, how you felt about conflict within a relationship. Because you're moving away from it, right? There needs to be patience when it comes to this. But I do think that there's a need here for you to start communicating your truth. You know, just as much as I feel like the truth is, you know, being made clear to you as well. Your best path to follow, the Eight of Cups. Wow, Cap, this one's a little bit difficult. So now, when you're looking at the Eight of Cups as your best path to follow, Spirit is telling you that moving away. You need to walk away from the things that are dragging you down. And there needs to be patience. There needs to be patience with the movement into calmer waters. You know, it's like, I think for some of you, there's a need here for you to be truthful with yourself when it comes to, you know, how you feel about a relationship, especially if you put so much into it and it's dragging you down. You know, and then the other thing too is that there's this feeling here too where, you know, I think that for some of you, you're definitely walking away from a relationship, but I don't think that it's like a bad thing. Like, I'm not feeling like a really bad ending. I just think that for some of you, you're realizing your own truth and you're done with conflict. And whatever the situation is here, when you're looking at the Eight of Cups, immediately it says that you have put so much time and effort into something, but it has stopped fulfilling you. It is dragging you down now. And there is a need to move away from that, especially with the Six of Swords being there. In your environment, the Emperor. So, for some of you, you know, this being in your environment and then seeing the Ace of Swords, absolutely. It's order and structure out of chaos. And having clarity, having that order and structure, and having that really nice grounded feeling, having control over what is happening in your life. For some of you, it may be you dealing with an Aries, though, when you're looking at it this way, right? And again, this doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. You know, this could just be a very important relationship. And it could be work-related, it could be family, you know. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of, you know, like love-related cups going on here. But whatever the relationship is with possibly this person, I think that, you know, you're starting to see the truth and speak the truth, and you're done with conflict, and there needs to be patience with this movement away. Because if you are moving away from a relationship that has been difficult, right, it's going to take some time for you to start seeing those calmer waters. Your hopes and your fears, the Knight of Swords. Again, truth, speaking truth, right? Clear communications, truthful communications. But then the worry there too is, you know, you need to be careful about, you don't want to do something you're going to regret either, you know. And I think that for a lot of you, having Temperance show up is like that reminder here that you need to have patience when it comes to moving into those calmer situations. Because the Knight of Swords is saying you're wanting to happen right now, like you're wanting to go right now. But Temperance is saying no, you know, while you're in this movement away, there needs to be some like inward reflection for you. Because it can be really difficult walking away from things that you've put so much time and effort into. I just think with the Knight of Swords, you know, I don't think that as an action, that's the best thing. I think that you're hoping for situations to move quickly, but I think it's going to be a little bit more slow going. And I do get the feeling that the Emperor in your environment does have to do with a person, you know. But again, for a lot of you, order out of chaos, right? Getting your shit together. But I would just be careful here with the Knight of Swords. And then the outcome, the Queen of Wands. Again, you know, fire sign energy, right? Now, in terms of you coming out, I like the energy because to me, there's some excitement and some enthusiasm. But the big thing with the Queen of Wands is that not only is she very passionate and very spiritual, but she knows how to manage what is happening in her life, right? I mean, you have all these different, like, emotions that may be surrounding you. This need to, like, hurry up and get things over with. You know, you needing to get control over what is going on with conflict in relationships. But then again, for some of you, this could be a fire sign. I mean, you got Sag and Aries here. But when I see the Emperor, I think of a person. You know, not only is it a feeling that is surrounding you, but for a lot of you, it could have to do with a person. But I do like the Queen of Wands as the energy surrounding you out of this situation. And for some of you, it could be a person that is guiding you because of her being connected with Temperance, right? All right, Cap, we're going to take a look at the soul trees to see what else is going on for you guys. And I don't know, I just kind of get this little bit of a heavy feeling around relationships right now. Truth coming out, having spent so much time in one situation and needing to like walk away from it and take a new path. But the path is going a little bit slow. Like you're not moving down it fast enough. But seeing the Queen of Wands, I do think that for a lot of you, this is where you're going to end up. And emerging, yes, you are emerging. And I do feel that with the Queen of Wands. Honor yourself. If you're having to move away from a situation that is draining you emotionally and you're done with the conflict, yeah, honor yourself is saying it's time to honor yourself now and honor your own truths and honor the things that are important to you. Expansion. When I look at expansion, I think of a part of your life that is expanding, and it may have to do with the people that are involved with, you know, what is going on in your life right now, especially with relationships. And these could be working relationships. But expansion can go either way. This could be a situation where, you know, some people are leaving and new people may be coming in. But you're also expanding yourself, your mind and your spirit. But it's important to honor yourself, especially with the part of you that is emerging out of this situation. All right, Cap, we're going to take a look at Whispers of Love instead of the Romance Angels this week to see what messages there are for Capricorn and how Capricorn can attract more love into their life. Be in the present and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible. Definitely be in the present moment with that Ace of Swords, but be patient because the future is still unfolding for you. And I think that, you know, for those of you who are single in terms of love, right, you know, it's important to see truth and clarity and to speak your truth when it comes to the way that you feel about a relationship or what you're expecting even. But, you know, again, it's important to have that visualization, which is one of the things that I love about, you know, this deck too, because it very much talks about the law of attraction. But dreaming of the future, right? Think about what the outcome is going to be. Not how you're going to get there or how it's going to happen, but what does the final result look like for you, right? And I think that's where, you know, your focus needs to be here when you start moving away from the things that have been dragging you down. Be supportive. Make a genuine effort to show you care. So for those of you who are in a relationship, I think that, you know, and I kind of get the feeling that it goes both ways. Right? I think for a lot of you, you have been supportive. You've been there for your partner. But I think that, you know, it's there needs to be a little bit of even give and take when it comes to that, right? But I think that if you show that support and you continue to do that, not only are you doing the right thing, but it opens the door for the other person too to start showing you some support, especially if you're in workaholic mode right now. It's not a bad reading, Cap. I kind of worry because the feeling here is just, there's a little bit of sadness, but there's truth and clarity. And I can understand the feeling of like, now, it needs to be done now, right? I need order, I need balance. But I do think you need to be patient. But seeing the Queen of Wands, you know, even if this is a person, I see this as a positive thing, especially with her being connected with Temperance. And if this is where you end up with the energy surrounding you, it's beautiful. All right, Cap, so clearly this has to do with a relationship, looking at the Two of Cups as the past coming through. So for some of you, you are moving away from conflict within a relationship, and it's like reaffirmed in your best path to follow. Looking at the Eight of Cups, it can be really difficult walking away from things that you've put so much into. And I think that a lot of you are like wanting it to happen right now. Right now, you're ready to charge forward. But I think that there is a need here for you to have a little bit of patience because you are being guided. And I think for some of you, you're being guided into a spot where there may be somebody coming through that is going to help you find some balance. But seeing this as the energy that's surrounding you out of this situation is fantastic. It's fantastic. I love the energy of the Queen of Wands, especially with her being connected with Temperance. I do think that things are going to start to be a little bit more calmer for you, but I think that there are difficulties surrounding this because you're wanting, you know, that balance and that order and that structure. You don't want to deal with any more conflict. You don't want to deal with any more chaos, which is understandable. But I do think that for some of you, it may have to do with a person, right? When I see the Emperor show up, especially with the Two of Cups, this could suggest a person that you're in a relationship with, and this is the person that's in your environment right now. And seeing the Ace of Swords as present conditions, truth and clarity. Truth and clarity in regards to conflict within a relationship, especially with the Six of Swords being your signifier. A little bit of a kind of feeling. It's not really bad, but I think a lot of you are understanding now because you're becoming a witness to your own experience. But I would be careful about going into workaholic mode because, you know, again, with the Knight of Swords, I think, you know, a lot of you are like wanting this done right now. Right now, I'm going right now. But I think there are things that, you know, you're going to have to deal with internally while you are on this move away from the conflict in your life. But again, you don't want to be going into workaholic mode, which, I mean, you know, I say that, but at the same time, I understand. Because even when I've dealt with painful things, the first thing I think of is, thank God I've got a job that I can focus on instead of having my thoughts constantly run away with me. But I don't think that that's an issue with you. I just think you need to be careful about looking at escapism in work. Because, you know, this card is very much saying that your life is passing you by. Now, when it comes to the soul trees, honor yourself. I see this almost every time that the Knight of Swords shows up. There is an importance here when it comes to honoring yourself. Expansion. I do think that the people in your life are going to be expanding. Some of them may be leaving, some of them may be coming in. But there is a part of your life that is expanding, and you're expanding yourself as well because of emerging. And I do think that, you know, looking at her as the outcome, yeah, there is a part of you that is emerging out of the situation. Now, when it comes to love, being in the present moment and dreaming of the future, this is one of the things that I love about this deck because it does very much talk about the law of attraction. When it comes to visualization, you want to look at the end result. For those of you who are single, you need to be in the present moment, yes, but at the same time, what does the end result look like for you? Don't worry about how you're going to get there or how things are going to happen for this to show itself in your life. You need to think about what the end result looks like. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, be supportive. I have a feeling that this goes both ways because I think a lot of you are done dealing with conflict. But I do think that it's going to be up to Cap to continue to show that support, even though you may be feeling the difficulties within it and you're like, done with it. I'm gone. I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with any more conflict within a relationship. It's understandable, but if you continue to do this, not only are you doing the right thing, but it opens the door for the other person to start doing the same thing for you. And I do think that it goes both ways. But I like to see that Queen of Wands as the energy that is surrounding you. Because I do think that you know how to manage situations in your life. I just think that a lot of you are done with conflict right now.